Hello Taurus, how are you? Welcome to your June 2017 love reading. Thanks so much for being here. Quickly, okay, I have construction as always going on around my house, which is why it's taken me so long to get your videos out. My whole experience here in Bali is just so loud everywhere you go. It's street noise or kids, no offense to, to kids, but kids or birds, roosters, construction. It's like one thing after the next. There's like no quiet corner here. It's been very frustrating. Bali has been a very frustrating place for me in general. Did not work out as well as I thought it would. Hopefully my voyage to Europe this summer will be much better. But anyway, all that aside, that's all about me. I'm going to be doing a little video actually about my experience with Bali and the astrological aspects of it separately. But anyway, sorry, I'm totally gabbing now. Let's focus on you, Taurus. All right, let's get your video done. Your love energies for 2017. We had one pop out. Okay. 7 of Coins is a decisive place, thinking about things, thinking about the investment that you've made, thinking about the efforts. Is it good enough? Are you getting the rewards? Is your relationship good enough? Other parts of your life, are they lending to the overall good of your life? It's very independent. It's something you must do on your own. No one can do this process for you. Is your relationship satisfying? Are you happy? What needs to be changed? Something to keep in mind for you, actions speak louder than words. Actions are the evidence that need to be analyzed, not the feelings, okay? Coins are about reality. There's nothing magical about coins. There's nothing, fantastical or emotional. No, it's about what's on paper. You need to be honest with yourself here, because what's crossing you is something that was like fairness, okay? Why is good fairness crossing you? Do you want to be fair to someone else? Are you maybe trying not to stir the pot for fairness to the other person? Are you trying to maintain your obligations, to maintain your contracts and the things that you said you were going to do just because you said you were going to do them? Okay? And what's fair to you? Are you being fair to yourself? Are you being fair to those around you? Why is Lady Justice hard for you? Why is she getting in the way? Maybe Lady Justice is doing you a little bit of disservice, right? Maybe you are getting a little bit of karma as well. The one torn asunder. It's like the Hanged Man, okay? Delays and suspension, especially in the reversal. You may have difficulty seeing things from another person's perspective. You may be a little bit married to your own way of thinking, all right? Keeping people in the dark, not communicating as well. 7 of Coins is a very quiet energy, okay? It is very quiet. It is, like if you just look, she's just observing. She's just stepping away and doing, there can be a lot of meditation here as well, and really asking yourself and being honest with yourself about what's serving you and what isn't. But having it a difficult time, I think, for connecting with the reality, like analyzing the reality, but not connecting with it. Maybe you're even still holding out for hope. The 2 of Wands reversed, feeling lost. Maybe you're really questioning how you got here. Like, where did I go wrong? Where was the wrong turn? What was it that I felt I should have done that I didn't do? Okay. 2 of Wands in a relationship reading, when it's reversed, I often see 2, now she doesn't have wands, but there are 2 wands, so 2 independent entities that have chosen to go separate ways. They're not running parallel now, they're running opposite. You may cross paths again in the future, but for now you're heading in very different directions. And I think it's throwing you for a little bit of a loop, Taurus, and you're like, wait, what? This wasn't what I signed up for. This wasn't what it was supposed to be. You may be feeling very isolated and very like even betrayed, okay? You may be like, hey, how did this come to be when we already agreed to something else? Like, I'm doing my stuff, I'm doing my end of the bargain. Remember, actions speak louder than words. What have their actions told you? You may be having a difficult time seeing that, really understanding it, okay? And the Emperor reverse. Got be careful, Taurus, that you aren't cutting people out or you're not cutting people off, all right? I don't want to see you going full bull mode, like Taurus the bull, okay? This isn't a attack situation, right? No one's waving the red flag, all right? If you're in love with a Taurus and you're in love with a Taurus and they're kind of in their own headspace here, it's very likely that they are trying to hold themselves back, that they are pulling away, that they are like retreating. Like we are all going into our own separate corners a little bit right now. Every sign that I've done reading for there has been that element of like pulling away and not participating and just being a little bit more analytical. You know, we do have Mars moving from Gemini into Cancer, which for me is good. Mars in Gemini really affects me in a negative way, like tons of lack of focus. But with Cancer, it is going to be more, I'm going to do something when I feel like I'm going to do it. So there might be a little bit of lack of initiative, still good. And it's like when you want to do something and you really care about it, you will. But it's more emotionally driven, right? And so your Taurus seems to be a little bit emotionally disconnected right now with the coins in the middle. They're more in a practical, earthy, right? They are the fixed earth sign. So they're in a very earthy place right now, not a very water or fire state. Okay, so their lack of initiative might get annoying for you. So just be cognizant of what they're going through and give them some space to do that. And don't be so judgmental, because the more and more you push and the more and more pressure you pressure, the less and less likely they are to do what needs to be done. And it can actually add or lend to them working against themselves. So Taurus, you, the Emperor reversed, I think you're headed for just a little bit of a hiatus, just a little bit, not a big one. And you're not really interested in taking the reins or taking on some additional responsibility because of this justice in reverse. Like you're just trying to even out the scales yourself. You're just trying to make sure it's fair. And maybe in the past you have given more than you have received. And so you're like, okay, well, I'm just not going to give so much anymore. I'm just going to do my own thing, and if that person wants to give back, then they can. I'm available and ready to accept it. Seven of Swords reversed. Well, I'm happy it's reversed. Again, I often see that as being, betrayal or secrets, but maybe the secrets are kind of coming out. Maybe there is a little bit of communication, maybe not a lot. But I think you don't want to sabotage yourself. So maybe that's why you are taking a break, right? And some of you sabotaging yourself could be going through and continuing a relationship that's not good for you just because you said that you would be committed to that person. And for some of you, it would be running away from someone that's good for you just because on paper they don't make sense, or just because they've done something that, I don't know, whatever it is, you're not running away from it. I think you're acknowledging those things, and you actively don't want to sabotage yourself. You really do want to make the best choice, because in the past you did get derailed a little bit and now it got you here. And you're like, okay, well, before I make decision again, I need to make sure I'm sure. So you're just waiting to be sure. And classic Taurus, slower moving and a little bit stubborn, like no one's gonna get you to do anything other than what you decide that you need to do. But it's for your best interest, so do that. It's good. And the siren, it's like the devil in the other deck. The temptation, right? The allure, something maybe very, very tempting. I think you don't want to lose control. You know, the Emperor reversed. There is likely someone that really is an Achilles heel for you. Again, the justice coming into play, connecting with the siren, both about commitments, both about institutions, both about higher level stuff. Are you committing because you've said you would commit? And that's the only reason. Is that the only reason why you're staying? Because I'm seeing things as being a little bit toxic for you, right? But you're not ending something specifically because you don't want to sabotage it too soon. It's almost like you are just going to do a wait and see. Let's wait and see how this goes. Let's wait and see how this plays out. No one's egging you on. No one is, you know, pressuring you as far as I can see right now. So that's fine. It's a beautiful place for you to be. It's cautious at a time when most people are being cautious. Like almost every sign is being cautious right now. So like you're not alone in that, and it's okay. And the time will come when you need to act, and you will, but right now just take a step back, take a beat. The Artisan of Cups, like the Knight of Cups. So the environment is maybe superficiality and even a little bit of hedonism as well. Okay, maybe there's even a little bit of too much high level or too much surface level stuff. Taurus, you may have gotten kind of caught up in the allure of someone, right? This is a very elegant, very classy, very sensual, like really appreciating the finer things in life. They appreciate art, they appreciate food and music, and very cultured in nature. Likely someone very different than you, okay? Maybe your partner has taken on this interesting kind of turn, right? But their emotions don't run so deep. And I think maybe on some level you are trying to attain a deeper connection with someone. And that deeper connection might be, it's hard to tap into that with them. Because you're Emperor reversed, you already have enough of that going on. So two people like that, two people that haven't really tapped in or really connected on an emotional level does create the siren, right? Like maybe the sex is really good. Or I don't know why I've seen a lot of sexuality with, I saw it with Aries, and now I'm kind of seeing it with you here as well. A lot of sexuality, a lot of sensuality, but not spirituality. Like you're not connecting on a spiritual level or a spiritual plane. It's more lustful. It is more worldly. This is someone that wears their heart on their sleeve, and they do tend to have love for love. And when they're with you, it's all about you. But then when they're with someone else, it's all about them. So it's kind of like, you know, and I think you're trying to really protect yourself right now. You're trying not to sabotage yourself, you know. You're holding your words back. I think for now that's best, because this can often be cutting and said in haste, said in reaction. All right, so it's good, this Emperor reversed, it's good, it's protective. Now, again, if you're in love with a Taurus and you're watching this and you're like, hey, like that's not really who I am, or that's not really what this relationship is all about. I thought it was really more than that. It's important for you to really analyze, just like them, Seven of Coins, just like them. Look at the concrete details of the relationship. Look at the the actual parts of what's happening and what's really going on and what this person did, what you did, and to be very honest and open with yourself about how things were and not how you perceived them to be. Two very, very different things. Okay? And to accept that maybe things that they said, you interpreted them in one way, but in reality they may have meant them in a different way. You know what I mean? There's a very prominent difference in expression here. And it is that difference that can create a divide, can create this toxic situation. Six of Cups. The past, connection with the past, but also superficiality. It's like children love, how children love, how children play on the playground and how they connect emotionally. Do they connect on a deep plane, or is it high level only? An Emperor reversed is emotionally repressed. So Taurus, really ask yourself, how emotionally available are you right now? You know, your partner really may be keeping it on the surface because they can tell that you don't want to delve deeper. They can tell. They're not dumb, you know, they can tell. And so it's like, well, if that's all Taurus wants, well, then that's what I'm going to give them. But on the same level, you need a safety net. You need to know that you are safe. You need to know that you are in a safe place to be emotional and to let your heart open. And they're not really providing that for you right now. Okay? And it may cause a little bit of anger. Maybe you're angry that they're not providing that safety net now, which is why you're reconsidering the commitment, why you're reconsidering what's been fair and what hasn't been fair. Especially if you have been giving a lot, Taurus, and now you're pulling back. And the Hierophant, well, there's your card, Taurus, the 5, Major Arcana. The institutions, 2 cards of institutions, 2 cards of marriage. Like, you have beautiful intentions, Taurus. I know that you don't want this to end. I know that you don't want to give up. Taurus doesn't give up. They full on, they're fully in it. You want this to be bigger than just you. But you can't be the only one fighting either. 3 of Coins, creative solutions. This is about communication. I see you being, oddly enough, in spite of the Emperor, and in spite of maybe you're kind of in your own separate corners, I do see you being very, very open to change, Taurus. As long as the other person is. And I'm kind of thinking that you need them to come to you and be like, hey, I know something's really off. Like, can we talk about it? You're very open to talking, very open to change and creative ideas. Some of you in relationships, you're open to therapy. You're open to, like, I see this as like church leaders, or like that do marriage counseling, like priests or, you know, pastors or whatever, that kind of offer that service, couples counseling. So maybe some of you are kind of open to that idea to really, really get away from this like situation that I think you view as being very bad for you. Enchantress of Wands. The 9 of Wands. This is the guard coming down. Interesting, you're getting so much fire. So maybe your passion is really getting in the way. Your passion for what's right. Your passion for the obligation and the commitment. I mean, we're getting 3 cards now of institutions. This is the card of Capricorn ruled by Saturn. All right, so Saturn and the Hierophant and Justice. And actually both of these are your cards. Ruled by Libra, or Venus, I'm sorry. Oh, no, that's not you, I'm sorry. Totally disregard that, totally not yours. But that is you, that is you. I'm trying to place this Enchantress of Wands because I'm not quite sure who it is. On first draw, I thought it was you. But then on second thought, I'm like, well, maybe it's your significant other because they seem to be very, very closed off as well. A little bit on the selfish side, which speaks well here, but kind of so are you. So I don't know, maybe it's really both of you. Maybe both of you lost your drive, right? And maybe sex was taken off the table. I don't know, you know, because it's like sex gets you in trouble. Sex reconnects something that maybe you're trying to separate yourself from. Sex makes things confusing. And so here I'm like the sexual queen, okay? And I mean, even look at her. She is very sexual, and she enjoys expressing her love in that way. And it got you to where you are. And the Nine of Wands is a lot of guardedness, but at the same time, I kind of like am seeing it as you're absolutely not going to discuss this. You're absolutely not going to let this person in unless they kind of like tap you on the shoulder and they're like, hey, I want to talk to you. And then you'll kind of slowly start easing up. Slowly, and just so long as you know that you're safe, and then eventually you'll fully let go and you'll fully let this person in and you'll fully tell them everything, but you have to know that you're safe to do that, and that they're not going to leave, and that they're not going to judge you, and that there's no like, you know, because I think you want to fix this. I think that you're unhappy with the lustfulness and the temptation of this relationship, and you really want it to be something bigger, something better, something more significant. That this is supposed to be for the greater good. Devotee of Wands, seriously, you really, really, really want to talk. You don't want to repeat patterns, and you don't want to be victim of like a practical joke. Like I think some of you are viewing this as a practical joke, and you're like, am I falling for something that I know just cannot be more deep, that cannot be real? Intuitively, I'm not sure where you're at. I don't know if your intuition is really speaking very clearly to you right now, or if you're in a mindset to really, like I think you're so much in defensive and analysis mode, and you're like, can this person provide everything that I want, or will it just linger on in the siren phase? Will it constantly just be this tempting situation? You have a strange and even uncanny ability, Taurus, to not indulge in things because you are stubborn, right? So you can go like completely overboard, but if it's something that you really don't want, then you're really not going to do it. All the Taurus people I know anyway, they have an ability to make up their mind and stick to it. It's a blessing. You don't like hem and haw. You're not like all over the board. It's like, no, I decided this is what I was going to do, so I'm just going to do that, you know? Temperance, peace, wow. Maybe some of you are just okay with things. I don't know, it's weird. These are so opposite. It's like a totally contradictory message. Flow of energy, channeling energy. You can channel it into something destructive, or you can channel it into something constructive. Okay, maybe this is more an element of balance, spiritual balance, right? That's maybe just what I was just talking about. Maybe I said all that for a reason, because it's a matter of channeling. So whether you channel your energy into something that's purely sexual or purely toxic and you know it, or channeling it to finding something more concrete, to finding something more real, or channeling it into building something with someone, and the sun coming out in the environment. You seem to be very optimistic about this person or this, whatever it is, this situation. You seem to be at peace. See, the darkness and the sun, the siren and the sun, the devil. Such opposites in my eyes. I just said this in Aries. Every shadow has sun, and every has light, and every light has shadow. You cannot have one without the other. It is the ultimate coexistence of everything all at once. And you know, there's really nothing you can do about that. I'm not sure where this reading is really going. I'm kind of getting confused by this, but maybe you guys will understand it. Hero of Cups. You're open to communication. Again, this is a card. I see this Hero of Cups, King of Cups as being the communicator, the one that likes to talk. But not like this, right? Be careful of the gossip, and be careful of what you hear through the grapevine as well. And be careful not to spread rumors about your relationship either. Be careful not to like tell friends and talk too loosely with people that are not your partner. The things that need to be said to your partner. All right. And if you're watching this because you're in love with a Taurus, please create the platform for them to be safe to do that. That's your responsibility. You need to be the one that lays it all out on the table, and you may need to egg them on a little bit. I'm not going to lie. They're not going to just be totally forthright and be like, oh, you want to talk? Great, let's talk. And then they just tell you everything. No, you're going to have to put a little bit of effort and a little bit of work into that. But you don't want them going and telling their sisters and brothers and their friends over drinks. And that's very skewed, right? You need that communication to be directed to you. So create that opportunity for them to tell you. And Taurus, please be cognizant of where your mouth goes, and be cognizant of the things that you say and the things that you complain about to people that are not the subject of your complaint. I'm all for venting, I totally get that, but it needs to be constructive and not destructive. When your emotions are running so deep and you don't know how to channel them, right? You don't know whether to channel them into lustful indulgence or to channel them into something that's, a little bit more substantial and important. And you're feeling frustrated, kind of stuck in the middle. You don't want to just go vent to just anybody and kind of sour a situation that's kind of in a sour place already, right? Don't make it worse. And the 10 of Wands. I know you're getting to the point where you're not really wanting to work anymore, because this is hard enough as it is. I think you really do care about this person, and you really do see the good side of them. But the lack of emotional expression is really what's concerning me. You're not connecting on that deeper level. Even the Hero of Cups, you're afraid that they're not any deeper than they are displaying to. You're afraid that they don't have more to them. All right, they do. They're not that expressive of that either. So you've got two non-expressive people not expressing the way they feel about each other, and two people that are questioning the substance of this relationship. Well, do you want it to have substance? You have to create that substance if that's what you want. It doesn't have to be so much work. You're just making it work. If you want to talk, you have to talk. It's great for me to tell the other person in this video, hey, you got to create the platform for them, but you are responsible for expressing the way you feel. They're not mind readers. They can't guess. And you're putting up a really big wall. Really self-reflect, really look at yourself and saying, am I making this hard for my partner too? Or are they just the ones making it hard for me? And right now, I think the sexuality is kind of on hold, which is maybe where the connection really was coming. There's nothing wrong with connecting sexually, right? But maybe that's kind of creating the wedge. You're not having sex, so you're not connecting. And so the next best thing is talking, which maybe you were never really good at talking because you guys always just maybe had fun together and it was very light and it was very surface or whatever. But now that sexually things aren't the way they used to be, and the drive isn't there, and the desire to be progressive in the relationship, taking it to the next level, and you're not talking, so it's well, then there's no substance really. There really isn't. So how are you going to channel your efforts? You can keep it in the superficial realm if you want, Taurus. That's totally your call. But I don't think that's what you want. I don't think that's ultimately what Taurus is about. Taurus, to me, they're very committal. You guys may disagree, but you guys thrive in stable environments, and relationships provide stability for you. This is someone that challenges that stability, though. Two of Swords, the decision. That's no joke. See, the Fool reverse, the fear of taking that leap, the fear of like really jumping into something and being vulnerable. This is a card of Orpheus, who's a musician, all right? And he and his wife were taken by Hades. I don't know all the story, but I like to explain this card because it's more anger here than it is enthusiasm, all right? So what happens is they make an agreement, you know, where Hades will release them from the underworld, he and his wife, but the agreement is he has to go out first. Orpheus has to go out first. And if he doesn't look back, all right, before he leaves the shade, then the wife will be released. Well, right before he exits the shade entirely, he unwittingly looks back and has to watch his wife being sucked back into the underworld, and the underworld shuts closed. So now he's officially separated from his wife, and now he has to continue his life and start afresh, right? And it's a little bit of anger and it's a lot of anger and frustration. He's mad at himself, he's mad at Hades, he's mad at his wife, he's mad at everything, but yet he has to continue on, right? And so you're kind of in that place of not taking that first step into your new life. Like you haven't quite accepted the fact that your wife was just sucked into the underworld and you're never going to see her again, right? So I'm being super dramatic and I'm telling you the mythology behind the card because I think it applies and it's relevant. So yes, open to communication, but not open to taking the first step. Right? You need someone to push you. You need someone, because there is anger here. I think there's anger toward the situation, oddly enough. I'm not seeing cards of anger specifically, but I'm feeling it. I'm feeling anger towards it. And the Six of Swords. Oh, yay, my power came back on. Again, Bali, I think my power goes out once a day. It's terrible. No Wi-Fi. Nothing. I have to drive to the nearest cafe and hope that they also have power. Anyway, Six of Swords, transitioning, moving on, lessons learned. Another card with sirens, another card where the sailors are trying to be seduced by the sirens. So temptation is around you. This person is definitely your Achilles heel, very alluring. You're really having a hard time, Taurus, with taking that next step and really, you know, I think you're really, really waiting. Like you're waiting to see what the other person is going to do. That's why, other person out there who's watching this, it's important for you to create that platform because they're waiting for you to make it happen. If you want to make it happen, you got to be the one. I know that's annoying, but it's what just needs to happen right now, okay? They're trying to manifest the desired outcome, but they're not going to talk about it. They're just like hoping that it's going to come. Okay. And the Tower, shipwreck. It's dramatic change. This, for some of you, could be a friends with benefit situation that actually does turn into a relationship. I'm not going to lie, it really could be positive for a lot of you. I'm seeing it going in a positive direction. I don't know why. It's like a toxic place that goes to a beautiful place with the Sun. Enchantress of Coins. Like, oh my gosh, there are so many emotions here, but they're not expressed. They're so silent and so quiet and so underneath the surface, but they are running deep. Love is bountiful, you guys. You got to talk about it though. Otherwise, you're going to really miss out on a beautiful opportunity for love. I really think this could change for the better. Wow, there's so many people. Wow. Enchantress of Swords in the environment, or in the hopes and fears. Your intuition. You're afraid that you're misinterpreting. You're in the dark, the moon, big fat question mark of the tarot, but oh, Taurus, I'm getting frustrated with this reading. Not you, not frustrated with you, but frustrated with this reading because it's just like there's such a brick wall with the talking. And talking is the only way that we can understand other people. You know, unless you guys are really spiritually connected and you're really like just off right there. But no, I mean, even then, you have to talk about stuff. And they do too, because they're not talking either, right? They're all just, everyone's just trying to keep it on the surface. You're trying to keep it simple, trying to keep it easy. But it's not. You're a human being. It's not easy. You have emotions. You have feelings. And as much as you want to stay into that earthy vibe and really lean into the fact that you're the fixed earth sign and really lean into the fact that you have evidence in front of you that you're trying to figure it out, the fact of the matter is, I guess, is that you really don't have all the information, you know? And the only way you're going to get all the information is if you talk about it. And then you'll have the information to decide whether or not you want this relationship to move forward. And you'll know what they want as well. All right? Okay, guys, I'm going to let you go with that. I really, really hope I provided a little bit of insight. I wish you nothing but the best. All right? Thank you so much. Take care.